Welcome to NuttieBuddie Sports. The San Francisco 49ers versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Probably the best game, guys, right? Like, this was the most entertaining game. The Cowboys lost to the 49ers 17-23. Let's get to some game notes. Okay, let's talk about what the last play of the game. 14 seconds left on the clock. Draw play by Dak Prescott. Let's start with I want to leave your thoughts last, Chris, because I actually got some of your thoughts. So I want to leave yours last. So let's start with Eric. What did you think of that play call in that moment? Dak, draw play there at the end of the game.
Very dumb. I also thought Dak made some poor choices, not just at the end of it, but it's just, why would you ever run the ball without any timeouts when there's no chance Prescott was going to get to the sideline in that amount of time? So, like, you knew you had to get up and clock it, and you should have slid a lot earlier. You should have done to give yourself a chance at getting a touchdown. That was just a dumb play call.
Okay, Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, that was the same word I was thinking of, dumb. I mean, I could see in some crazy scenario where you might think that would work out, but I think for 98% of America, they thought the same thing. Why are you doing this? This is a horrible decision. Like, there's no way you're going to have enough time to do that. It doesn't seem possible.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris? I kind of know what you think, but go ahead and give your 2 cents on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I left a voice message to you about this, but as they were lining up, I did think to myself, like, he's going to take off and run, because I think they had 3 linemen and then 9 guys in coverage, and they were like playing like extreme prevent defense. So the whole middle of the field was completely wide open, and maybe they were baiting them into doing that. So I don't know. I mean, the execution was horrible. If you're going to do that, you basically need to get your yardage and then beeline right to the sideline. And instead, he stayed right up the middle. So maybe if he ran off tackle and then was able to kind of squirt off out of bounds, it wouldn't have been the worst play in the world. But to just obviously, and then he ran with the amount of time, he ran too far and they didn't have enough time to get set up. So, I think Eric said, you could maybe see some sort of universe where it might have been a good idea, but the execution was horrible. McCarthy said they practiced it, and I'm stealing from Jim Rome, but he's like, I find that very hard to believe, because like, he didn't know that the center can't set the ball, like the referee has to touch the ball first. So if you've practiced that over and over again, like, you would know that. You're with that amount of time left, you're depending on the umpire like hauling butt down the field and getting there to set the ball. So yeah, mainly like I could see like 5% of a good idea, but the execution destroyed that 5%.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you got to be like on point with that play. Dak has to get up and hand the ball to the referee. Your offensive linemen even have to be hauling down the field. Like, even the offensive linemen were slow in getting to the play. And I think the other thing is they should have had a second play called instead of looking to spike it, because in case you got it off with 1 second left, you didn't have time to spike it. You know what I'm saying? They also mentioned like he ran, what was it, like 18 yards? It was an 18-yard or whatever. Do you guys remember? Or whatever it was. But he should have just basically ran 10 yards and sat right away. Basically, like, don't run the full. Go ahead.
But to like what I said, he could have ran out of that. Would have worked if he got 10 yards, ran out of bounds. But then you might as well just throw it, because they were playing so far off that you could do a 10-yard button hook or a 10-yard out and get the same amount of yardage and much easier go out of bounds. So yeah. Sense.
Yeah, I agree. There was a way better way you could have done that play.
I just don't get how a professional quarterback don't know the basic rules of handing the ball to the ref. You see it every time someone's in a 2-minute drill that the players are looking for the ref. That's always what they're doing.
Yeah.
No, I credit my dad with this, but I know Aaron Rodgers or Dak Prescott is no Aaron Rodgers, but Mike McCarthy was on the field when Aaron Rodgers threw the 75-yard Hail Mary. So, it's obviously they wanted to set up a little shorter one and maybe, scheme up a play. But like he's seen it done before. Dak Prescott could throw a 45-yard Hail Mary. That's not outside the realms of possibility.
No, that's a great point. And really you had 2 shots at a Hail Mary. Like you could have done 2 Hail Marys. You had enough time to do that. So, and it was only 40 yards, right? So, I mean, like it was just not good. Okay. The other game note, out coached, obviously, 14 penalties, 89 yards for Dallas, and some really dumb penalties. I mean, like offsides. There was 2 defensive holding calls on run plays.
Mm-hmm.
And when you watch the replay, like sometimes the refs get really ticky tacky. Like you're like, okay, like it was bad. Like they were worth calling. So
yeah,
Mike McCarthy's coaching shows up once again, just shows up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What's that?
No, it didn't. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, his lack of coaching. My bad. I put this down because I thought this was when the game flipped, because it seemed like the defense for the 49ers had a lot of control of the game. Bosa got that concussion. Fred Warner went out with an injury. And then that sort of shift where the Dallas Cowboys got back offensively on track. So I don't know if this ends up being a close game if these guys stay in the game. What do you think of that, Zach? Do you think it would have been close if these guys would have stayed healthy?
No, I don't. I mean, it still would have been. It wouldn't have been a blowout, but it would have been a lot different of an ending. I think. I don't think it would have been nearly as close as it was, because they were getting good pressure on Dak the whole game until Bosa got hurt, and then Warner goes out too. So now you're losing your 2 best players at the most critical time in the game. Well, yeah, obviously that's going to make a difference. So if they both stayed in, I don't think it's nearly as close.
Yeah, I agree. Chris, you think the same?
Yeah, no, there was a play in the 4th quarter where Dak got a nice like deep ball over the middle. And at first I thought it was a linebacker, but on replay it was a DB. But I kind of thought, if Warner was in there, like the DB jumped for it and he just went past his outstretched arms. And I thought if that was Warner dropping back in coverage, he knocks that down.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Eric?
You lose 2 of your probably your 2 best defensive players. I mean, it's never going to be in your favor. So, I mean, to me, that was the game shift. That's when the Cowboys could start coming back, because they didn't have to contend with as tough as defense anymore. And they almost came back, but they are the Cowboys. So, I mean, you always expect something to go wrong for them.
Yeah, I heard the Cowboy fans, they were saying like, the Cowboys played horrible, but they like came back and played well enough to make it heart-wrenching. Like at first they were like came to terms with it when they were down by a double digits, and then they're like, oh, now we got broken heart syndrome. Yeah, Bosa especially, I felt like, I agree with that. I think Zach, you mentioned that the pressure they were getting on Dak early on was because of Bosa partly, and once he was gone, Dak had more time back there. So okay, running game for me for the 49ers is on point. They're averaging 4.4 yards a carry, which is pretty good. And I think that could work to their advantage. And I think they controlled this game with their running game. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead and do Deebo Samuel is a beast. 10 carries, 72 yards, 7.2 yards a carry, and then 12.7 yards receiving, even though he only touched the ball 3 times. But it kind of goes to coaching to me that Kyle Shanahan makes sure that his guy gets the ball, where Mike McCarthy, I think CeeDee Lamb doesn't touch the ball until middle of the 4th quarter. That was his first reception. So it definitely a difference in head coaching. Eric, how do you feel about Deebo Samuel in this run game?
He's one of the more entertaining, if not the most entertaining player to watch in the league, in my opinion. And it just shows, I just love how the coach does it. It's like, hey, this guy can make plays. Our quarterback can't always get him the ball, so let's find other ways to get him the ball. So, and it works out pretty well in their favor. I mean, they won this game, and he was a big reason for it, of course. And I love watching the guy play. He's just fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else to add, guys?
Just
go ahead.
that Kyle Scamahan or Shanafraud or whatever you want to call him pretty much did everything in his power to throw this game away. Obviously, they were running very well, and they still could have run more in the fourth quarter. Like that Jimmy Garoppolo interception was horrible. It was on a 2nd and 10 play. Just run in on 1st and 2nd down, see what happens. Then maybe third, if it's 3rd and long, throw. But don't let Jimmy with a bad finger or thumb or whatever he's got going on throw the game away for you. 4th down, the first time they should have went for it. They punted. And then the second time it was 4th and 1, they went for it. They did a quarterback sneak, but they did a shift. Williams shifted from the left and the right side. Why are we messing around with stuff like that? It's a quarterback sneak. We all know they're going to do a quarterback sneak. Just line up and enough with the trickery. So yeah, it was very hard to watch them try to throw that game away.
Hey, he outcoached Mike McCarthy.
He did.
Give him his props. Yeah. Williams didn't get set on that play, right? So that's why the flag was thrown. Yeah, man. Okay, let's 2 more things. Cowboys off season. What are we thinking as far as the thing we're looking forward to with the Cowboys off season? Maybe we'll start with Eric. You got anything?
My dream, if I was a Cowboy fan, would get rid of Mike McCarthy as a head coach, even try their offense coordinator, because it can't get worse. You would hope. I mean, he's just barely a figurehead for Jerry Jones, and then Jerry Jones to back off on it a little bit. That would help the Cowboys out because they're a very talented team. They don't need much.
Yeah.
But so if you're talented and you're losing in the playoffs, what do you need to look at? The coach and management.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Awesome. Zach?
Yeah, I was thinking the same lines. There needs to be some changes amongst the coaching staff there. Maybe not just Mark McCarthy. If Kellen Moore needs to switch up his game to create more opportunities for that offense or whatever the case is, I would love to see Mike McCarthy go away. Just for the sake of Cowboys fans, I don't even like the Cowboys, but for their fans at least, I think they'd have a lot better chance. It just wherever McCarthy goes, it seems really bad news.
Yeah. Chris, you agree? You're nodding?
Yeah, no, because there's not really any holes on this team, really. They've got talent on every single level. Their big problem is basically discipline. Dak disappears sometimes. I mean, obviously he's a playoff caliber quarterback, so I'm not going to take that away from him. But he can be a little inconsistent. But it's where do you look on this roster and be like, wow, they desperately need improvement? I don't think there's anywhere.
Yeah, and other than elite quarterbacks, every quarterback is inconsistent. That's why they're not elite. So Dak is probably a good one to have if you're not going to have an elite guy. And I agree 100%. I know Kellen Moore is probably going to get some looks by other teams. So if they want to keep him as coach, but interesting, I thought of this morning. The last time the Cowboys went from a veteran head coach to a young offensive guru. Does anybody know who that was? It was Wade Phillips to Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett,
yeah. So
I have 2 things, one for off season and one more for the game that I forgot to mention. Here's a spicy one for the off season. Maybe cut ties with Ezekiel Elliott. Because I don't know if he's just not a super motivated guy. If he shows up, he's not in shape, which I could sort of see, or if he's just wearing down. But he really was not impressive at all this season. I think he turns it on once in a while, but I say maybe look into trading him and going to Pollard full time, because Pollard is much more explosive at this point.
I actually agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. You probably could get a third for Zeke, right? Like a third.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
And then I just remembered my funniest moment of the game was when Dallas did the fake punt and got the first down. And then they left the punt unit out onto the field. And everyone was pretty confused. I guess the conjecture people thought is that he was trying to trick Shanahan into burning a timeout. But why would they? Because there's zero chance that you're actually going to run an offensive play on first down with your punt unit on the field. So San Francisco just stood there and was like, okay, whatever, who cares? We're not going to substitute. We're not going to do any substitute. We're going to make you keep your offense on the field. Then they ran their offense back out with like 10 seconds left on the play clock, and he had to burn a timeout because they weren't set. So that was the most McCarthy play I think I've ever seen. So props to that.
Didn't they get penalized for that? I thought they got the delay of game.
Oh yeah, they got delay of game.
So
yeah,
even worse.
Right.
Even worse.
Yep.
I mean, they got a penalty called on them because that totally worked out.
Yep.
Mike McCarthy at his finest. It was also pretty funny that Dak almost got tackled by the referee when he was trying to spot the ball. Like he basically almost
got leveled.
Yeah.
Oh, and shout out to Jerry World for building a stadium that you can't see at the sun is setting and you completely blind the receivers. Cedric Wilson actually ducked because he didn't know where the ball was coming in at his face because it was so bright. And then also having the stupid jumbo video board that you can kick punts into. So a colossal fail pile of a stadium.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yep. Okay. Last thing we'll talk about real briefly. 49ers going into Green Bay next week. Should the Packers be worried? Maybe a one-word answer we can go with again, just to sort of kind of end the podcast. If you have to, if you feel that burning desire to explain your position, that's fine. But maybe one-word answer would be great here. Zach, should the Packers be worried about the 49ers?
Nah.
How about you, Eric? You think so?
Not really.
Not really. What do you think, Chris?
Yes, but in a bigger sense, no.
Okay. Yeah, I waffle here, honestly, because like the Niners have had the Packers number in recent history, but I just think the Packers have been playing too good. So we'll see what happens.
Jimmy G in freezing temperatures with a broken thumb or whatever he has. Just think about it.
Yeah, that's true. It's just that their run games are going to be on point. They have to be on point because it's going to be cold and probably maybe wind. Who knows? But if they can't, the Niners are going to be able to run the ball. The Packers have to, and we know the Niners can run the ball. So that would be my only worry if I'm the Packer fan. Okay. Anything else, guys? Okay.
We got it.
Okay. So thank you guys for joining me. If you want to listen to the podcast where we're going to we'll recap this game that's being played right now, the Cardinals and the Rams, and then we're going to go in predicting next week's games. I'll post that probably on Thursday. We're going to record it on Wednesday night. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Zach. Thank you guys for joining me. Also follow me on Instagram at NuttieBuddie_sports and check out the YouTube channel where I've been posting clips of the podcast. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Well, there you guys have it. That's our thoughts on the game between the 49ers and the Cowboys. What did you guys think of that last play with Dak Prescott doing a QB draw? Let us know in the comments below. Let us know if you think the Cowboys should keep Mike McCarthy. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you'd like to listen to the rest of our podcast, click on the link below. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you guys soon.